Hi everyone, it's Dio here, and I'm back with another build guide for PoE2 0.3. So this is my first time doing a YouTube video, so I apologize if it's not that well put together, but I'm gonna do my best. So the build that I'm playing right now is Frostbolt Lich, and it's using a lot of different interactions that make it really great for both clearing and for bossing. And I'm going to be talking about how the build works and how you can start playing it on a budget. So first off, let's go over the core build mechanics. Our main damage skill is Frostbolt, which as you can see has the line pierces all targets. And normally Frostbolt also comes with an explosion when it collides with terrain, and you'll notice that the explosion does significantly more damage than the projectile does, right? So yeah, normally you would just shoot this skill. It fires in a straight line, pierces all the enemies, and then if it hits a wall, it explodes into that little nova that you see. However, if we use Snake Pit, I'm sure a lot of people know about this interaction, but I'll just go over it just in case. It says projectiles from spells cannot pierce, and then if it's in our left ring slot, projectiles from spells fork. So instead of piercing enemies now, if you fire a Frostbolt, it'll hit an enemy and then it'll explode and deal the initial projectile damage, and then turn into 2 more Frostbolt projectiles that can also explode because they're forking. We pair this with Split Shot to have an additional projectile when forking most of the time. And now we get into the really balanced part of the build, which is Frostwall. So if you put Frostwall down and then you fire your Frostbolt into it, it will collide, and then each one of the forking projectiles from Snake Pit will actually cause an explosion. It's difficult to see here because the Frostwall has its own explosion animation, but basically what this means is that we're getting the pierce damage and the explosion damage for like 4 projectiles every time that we do this. When you pair this with Scion's Temper, which is the skill gem that's shooting out like a billion projectiles around me, you can get some insane damage numbers due to the amount of overlapping explosions. So that's kind of the core mechanic of the build, and we're actually putting Frostwall on our cast on crit so that we don't have to press any buttons, and it kind of just one-hits every boss in the game right now with very little gear investment. This current character that I'm running probably cost me about maybe 150 divs to put together. But the builds can run on an insanely low budget, and I'll showcase like some boss runs that I did from a full build here, which cost me less than 1 divine to put together, and this thing is literally killing, T3 Olroth in like a couple seconds. So build is really strong. As far as I know, there's not very many people doing this build, and I think Frostbolt Snake Pit is really well known, but because pretty much every mage player this season is playing Blood Mage, which uses Cam's Heart, it's very rare to see Frostwall linked to cast on crit. There's 36 characters, as you can see. This guy's playing BM, but he swapped off cams, I suppose. But yeah, my build has the highest damage on poe.ninja and like significantly more ES than any other build playing this setup. So yeah, it's like pretty much all Stormweaver and Chrono players. So yeah, I think this build is really fantastic on Lich because it has great synergy with low life. It's a crit based build and we crit 1,000,000 times, so we don't care that much about crit chance, but we get a huge amount of crit damage from pain attunement. We have a lot of cast speed when low life, and of course the build also has an excellent amount of move speed because of this tech rod's case. So yeah, that's basically how the build works. It's really fun, it has great clear, and I am gonna show you some showcases. Alright, so let's go over the tree a little bit, you know, what we're going for, and our skill gem setup and everything like that. So, as you can see, it's pretty standard Lich tree. We are going for a lot of crit nodes, like we're going for this crit cluster here, this crit cluster, all of these crit clusters over here and up here. And we get some projectile speed up here. Only one ES recharge wheel. I don't really think you need much more than this if you have, you know, some of it on your chest. And yeah, faster start of ES recharge has like insane diminishing returns, so I really just think one cluster is enough for that. But we do go for a lot of max ES with these nodes here, this whole wheel here, this wheel, and you can make the build a lot tankier if you want to by dropping some more damage points, but this is the balance that I found that feels really good to use. If we take a look at our gear, our wand, I mean this wand is not perfect, right? All of this gear was bought for pretty cheap. Like this one cost me I think 5 divs or 10 divs or something like that. But you're looking for like Gainus extra or cold damage or spell damage or LE damage prefixes, +5 cold spell skills, and then these suffixes specifically are best in slot. This one had a cold spell corruption on it, which is why I got it. For your focus, you can either go for a double energy shield implicit or double energy shield prefix focus, or you can go for 2 spell damage rolls, like you could go spell damage and cold damage instead of this % increase here. Suffixes, I actually don't like going cast speed on focus because this build cares more about average hit than it cares about cast speed. Cast speed is really nice for clearing, but you don't want to overinvest in it because it'll make your mana costs really high. And you'll notice on bosses, a lot of the time your damage is actually tied more to CDR for Frostwall than it is to cast speed. So that's why I opt for double crit suffixes here. Amulet's really basic. I mean, I just crafted this one real quick. You're just going for double spirit. This is so that you can use convalescence as well as clarity and mysticism. You don't need mysticism, so you can probably drop the implicit for like, I don't know, like rarity or something. But yeah, this is basically, I can put out a crafting guide for how to make these amulets. This costs about like 7 or 8 div to make on average, so yeah, that's pretty easy. Helmet is just Brez and ES. Chest, same thing pretty much, right? You can go faster start of ES recharge on this if you want. Snake Pit, I just went for Rarity Corrupt. As you can see, the build currently has 150 rarity basically, so I think it's basically mandatory for like every build in the game right now. Gloves, rarity, and res. You can get like % increased effective socketed items here if you want, and just go for even more ES. I just like threw this together really quick, so it's not super min-maxed. Boots, same thing. Socketed items is really important on boots so that we can get double effect out of Tekraz's Gaze. And then I just have rarity and res on these. Headhunter with a rarity implicit. Only has 1 charm slot, I know. Yeah, you can tell not a whole lot was put into this. As far as jewels go, we've got like just like basic crit damage bonus, cold damage GS on our phylactery. I'm running a +3 Frostbolt. This is like literally half the cost of the builds, or maybe more. You do not have to do this. You can run a +1 or +2. It's super cheap, like less than 20 div. We've got 2 jewels with recover max mana on kill, and then a crit damage suffix. And then we've got a Heart of the Well with CDR, which is really important. Gain extra is cold, which is really important. And then the suffixes don't matter quite as much, but you know, it's pretty cheap to get these 2 affixes. I think this probably cost me like 5 to 10 div, but yeah, not much at all. So that's pretty much all the gear. It's very simple, very generic. You can basically run like this setup on any spellcaster in the game right now. You just swap the cold spell skill levels for like other shit on your wand and your yeah, and your focus if you're running like cold spell damage instead of any ES prefix. So it's very versatile. I think this setup works for like a lot of different builds, so you can like kind of make this build and then run other stuff on it if you want. I just found that the specific damage setup is just way better than anything else in the game right now. And I think you'll find the same thing out once you actually try it. But yeah, we were running at around 200k tooltip DPS. Of course, this is for one projectile hit that it's listing here. The explosion does 300k, and you're hitting like, you know, anywhere between 5 and like 40 explosions per second. So it does like an obscene amount of damage. I'm also running project acceleration. This is mostly for clear. You'll notice without this skill gem, your frostbolts just have like really slow movement speed, like you can just outrun them. So I think it's kind of mandatory to make the build feel good for mapping. But apart from that, yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, you can opt for trample toe in your boot slot instead. It's not as bad on Lich since we get a lot of move speed out of tech rods, but it's also like, I don't know, I don't really like it. It will make you less tanky. Your clear speed will probably go up a little bit, but yeah, not a huge fan. And yeah, that's pretty much all the gear. Alright, so the last thing that I want to talk about is our skill gems and our links. So starting off with Frostbolt, we're using a level 21 Frostbolt. You know, make sure it's 20 qual. All of these are 20 qual. We're linking it with Rakiata's project acceleration, which I talked about earlier. Efficiency, you can maybe swap efficiency for something else if you find a way to fix your mana issues. I figured that this was like the best way to solve it. It does kind of suck losing one slot, but this is like so much mana efficiency for just one gem slot. So that's why I like running it. Execute, complete no-brainer on a Lich setup. This is like one of the other main reasons why this build wants to go Lich, because you can use this gem. And then Scions for multiple projectiles. For cast on crit, you're using Frostbolt. Now Frostbolt, I did a lot of testing on gem levels for Frostbolt specifically, and a lot of testing with like Glacier and increased Ice Crystal life. For my testing, it seems like Ice Crystal life does nothing, so I'm just using as low level of a Frostbolt as I can to reduce mana costs. And we're pairing this with cooldown recovery, because like I was talking about earlier, the build's damage is really paired to cooldown. Efficiency, again, just for less cost. Fortress and Spell Cascade, so that it creates kind of like a circle around what we want to hit, and it makes it easier to get ricochets off of our Frostbolt. And we don't care at all about the damage that Frostbolt itself does, right? That's something really important to know about the build, is Frostbolt's damage is completely irrelevant. All of our scaling is on Frostbolt. I'm also running Enfeeble. There isn't really a good curse to use on this build, so just drop Enfeeble on bosses, like why not? Magnified Area, Cursed Ground, Prolonged Duration, Ritualistic Curse, and Heightened Curse. Give us some more max hit against Pinnacles. And then Convalescence. I'm pairing this with Cooldown Recovery, Prolonged Duration, Second Wind, and then, like I said earlier, Clarity and Mysticism. It's just a useful like tool, I guess. In case the boss manages to land an attack on you, you just pop it and you're good. And it's also useful in maps. So yeah, the skill gems are really simple. Oh yeah, we're also using a weapon swap Chiming Staff. The only relevant affixes here are cast speed and plus the level of spell skills. And we're pairing this with cooldown reduction or cooldown recovery, prolonged duration, rapid casting, and magnified area 2. There isn't really anything else you can put on this spell. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. I kind of made this video to show off the higher budget version of this build. If people want to see me talk about the low budget version, I will make a video on that as well. I do have all the footage of me crafting and buying like all the gear for that, and the build is posted in the description below if you want to take a look at it. But the bottom line is just that there's a lot that, I mean, there's not a lot that you need to make this build work. It's basically just Snake Pit, and you can make the build kill Ubers on like dirt cheap gear. So yeah, if people want to see that, I'll for sure make a video on it. Yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything to say about the build, just let me know in the comments or on Reddit, where I'll probably be cross-posting this. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. See ya.